Okay, Don, thank you once again. It has been a while. How many years? When was the last time you came on the show? It was quite a few years, right? Has it been?
Just over a year, I believe. Yeah,
Is it?
I mean, I miss coming and visiting my friends in Canada. So hopefully we can get back to a normal world soon and start enjoying and collaborating more directly soon.
Absolutely. Don, let's go right in it because there's so many things we want to know about, like US and then right now the new administrations, the elections, the COVID, how it's affect between us and you guys. Because regardless, many of us knows that Canadians is number one investors in US, and Florida is Canadians' most favorite spot in in US. So okay, first of all, after I ask you these questions, Aiken is going to translate it in Cantonese as you know how this runs. Yep. But we would like you to just give us a COVID update about what is going on. Okay, so I'll let Aiken translate it first. Thank you.
好快㗎，天娜提到啦，喺過一年裏邊咧都發生好多事啦，尤其各種大選啊，又有新冠疫情嘅。天娜提到啦，加拿大人咧就喺美國方面咧係投資就排第一嘅，即係最多加拿大人落去美國房地產市場咧就投資就一定加拿大排第一㗎啦。咁亦到佛羅里達州咧有一個即係幾熱點嚟㗎，即係好多人都中意喺度投資㗎。咁第一個問題想當而家就介紹下，而家美國方面啊嗰個新冠疫情最新嘅進展係點樣啊
？Yes, Don. You take it from here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tina, thanks once again as always. It's so great to be with you on your show and share some information across the border with your client, your friends there in British Columbia. In terms of COVID, it's kind of really going the way we expected. Our economists did predict that the summer things would cool down a little bit. We would get back to normal. People would start having a little more freedom for their lives, and we expected a 20% spike in numbers in October, so it's coming a little bit later. But we feel that it's really under a fair amount of control, and we're learning every day how to better control and how to maintain to better space. In Florida specifically, it really depends on the region, depending on how people are treating it. Up in Tampa and Orlando, it's fairly business as usual. Down in Miami, where I reside, we're a little more respectful still, wearing masks all the time, making sure we stay in spaces, and really dining, if we're just dining together, only outdoors.
Okay, let me just share this information. So 阿 Don 嘅意思咧就即係話咧喺佛羅里達州嘅時候咧，咁即係睇下你究竟咧喺邊一橛啦即係啦邊個區啦。咁咧就如果係喺Tampa 或者係 Orlando 嗰邊咧，就即係馬照跑就冇照跳。係啦，咁咧就佢嗰度咧就馬照跑冇照跳，但係咧如果喺 Miami 嗰度咧就大家咧就即係比較注重嗰個關於戴口罩嗰個社交距離啊，咁就比較即係緊張啲，咁所以咧就即係佢哋咧就大家日日咧都喺度控制緊。亦都不停咁樣去學啲新嘢，咁然之後咧就變咗咧就希望將個疫情咧係可以控制落嚟嘅。Okay, so now, in terms of the COVID, we understand how does it affect the Florida real estate? Because I know that like U.S. in many part of U.S. the real estate market is still booming like crazy. Okay, I don't think that is every single cities or every single state is like that, but I believe the less expensive one, they are really active. And Florida is very affordable. That's why so many Canadians likes to go there. Can you give us an overview? So I let Aikens to translate that first.
天娜問到咧喺個新冠疫情裏邊咧點樣影響到佛羅里達州嗰個房地產市道㗎？天娜就話咧知道咧喺美國咧就當然啦，唔係每一個州每一個地方啦，咁個別嘅州或者地方啊或者城市啊，咁個市道非常刺激，亦都有用到瘋狂呢個字添，即係可能仲升到唔講聲咧未定。咁當然唔係每個州都係啦。想請教下阿 Donnie 啦，佛羅里達州咧就多向嚟講都係比較係易於負擔嘅對加拿大人嚟講。咁其實而家目前嗰個市道嘅情況係點嘅咧
？Yes, here you go, Don. How is the market in Florida?
Yeah, so it's very interesting. I mean, first of all, in terms of price, it's not price dependent. So, for example, I just posted today that last month in West Palm Beach, which is a very affluent area, homes over $1 million have had an 83% increase over the last year.
Wow.
In Miami, we've had many homes of $5 million of value higher that we've had multiple offers in the first week, which is not our normal pace as you have in British Columbia. Overall, we're seeing the dynamics in the housing market within the United States, and Florida specifically, are accelerating. We do have incredibly low mortgage rates, as we all know. We're fortunate there. We do have a shortage of homes which are built. We are behind on that. That's statistically proven. And people are really changing in terms of how they're looking at how they want to live. If you have a single-family house and you don't have a real office, you may want to upgrade to an office. If you're renting and you want a little more space, you may want to look to a house. So there's a lot of shifting in the market. And Florida having more open space, better weather, and most importantly in the United States, zero state income tax, we're having an incredible positive population flow, where other states are having negative, population flow out of, mostly out of urban areas.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna quickly translate that. 所以阿 Don 嘅意思咧就係話咧喺佛羅里達州嘅時候咧，咁啊睇下唔係因為嗰個錢嘅問題，你知啦，有時就係話平啲咧就可能多人買啲，貴啲咧就可能少人買啲啦。但係佢話咧而家就唔係喎，其實咧就最主要嚟講咧就係嗰個好似話我哋不嬲都知道啦，我哋溫哥華都係咁樣樣噶啦，邊度都係咁樣啦，就即係獨立屋咧。就真係多人去睇啲獨立屋咧個需求咧就係大啲，咁好似啦，佢頭先講咧就喺 West Palm 嗰邊嘅地區啦，佢係高過100萬嘅物業咧，比過去嗰一年咧嗰個成交量咧高咗83%喎。OK， 咁如果你喺 Miami 嘅時候咧，係500萬5 million 500萬以上嘅咧，就頭一個禮拜咧就開始咧就已經有搶啊 multiple offer，OK 會搶啦。咁大家都知道啦，北美嚟講咧，嗰個 interest rate 咧就係即係嗰個利息咧係確實咧係平嘅。咁所以咧就令到好多啲人咧就亦都另外一樣嘢就係話嗰個大家一樣啦。想多啲地方，咁如果係租嘅時候咧，咁我不如租獨立屋啦。咁如果係如果買嘅時候咧，即係如果以前係冇一個書房嘅，而家係想多一個書房啦。即係大家都想要多啲嘅空間啊。Okay, now Don, if that is the case, how does it affect the condominium market in Florida? So I let Aiken to translate that.
簡單，對嗰個柏文啊或者多層柏文單位咧，而家造成嘅影響係點樣咧
？Yes, how does the condo market like in Miami, in like like downtown and all that. So how is the market?
Yeah, this is across many markets, not only Florida and South Florida, but long story short, the single-family home market is on fire. We have about half the inventory, and the homes are staying on the market about 50% less time. So you're seeing a big price increase, I'd say about 20-25% across the entire state. Wow. As a generalization for your single-family homes. Consequently, condos are a little less attractive right now because people are uneasy about what's in the future. Condos, you're paying for the simplicity, you're paying for the amenities. And, with COVID and different safety precautions, amenities are sometimes being taken away from residents. So people are, less interested in condos right now. So condo sales and condo values have been fairly flat. But we do expect that to increase this winter because we feel the single-family home market is kind of unsaturated. So we think we're going to have a nice winter of condo sales throughout Tampa, Orlando, and Miami.
Okay, so 阿 Don 嘅意思咧就係即係話咩咧？屋嗰個建築屋嗰個量咧亦都係低嘅，咁所以變咗咧就，但係嗰個需求咧就好強，令到咧就賣屋嘅時候獨立屋咧就係比以前嚟講咧少咗一半嘅時間喺個市場上邊，咁個屋價咧喺過去呢段時間咧就已經起咗20到25% 個屋價錢啊，咁喺相對嚟講咧嗰個condo 咧就冇咁冇咁熾熱啦。點解咧？因為咧嗱，如果大家未去過 Miami 嘅咧，就即係另外一回事。我去過 Miami 咧，佢哋嗰啲 condo 咧就真係好靚㗎，嗰啲咁嘅設施咧，個大游泳池啦，個健身房啦，即係靚到不得了㗎。咁但係咧，你而家嚟講咧，即係好似我哋呢邊都知道啦，健身房啊、咩房啊，總之咧全部都鎖晒嘅。 唔俾人去嘅。咁所以咁嘅情況之下咧，就令到如果你俾管理費，咁你又唔用得，咁係咪即係好嘥咧？係咪即係唔係好嘥？即係我俾咗錢出嚟，咁我又唔享用得喎，咁即係唔係幾好啦咁樣。所以令到咧就嗰個 condo 嗰個價錢同埋嗰個成交量咧都係非常之 flat 嘅意思，即係平穩啦嚇。咁但係佢覺得咧就係佢覺得咧喺Christmas 嚟講咧就可能咧係會有進步啦。咁因為咧個價錢屋個價錢咧已經係越嚟越即係太過高啊。咁所以令到有啲人咧可能係負擔能力唔到嘅時候咧，咁我哋咧下一節嗰陣時候咧就再同大家去commercial 之後咧就再同大家去講清楚究竟係點樣嘅情況啦。
5點30分啦，要聽好説話，翻嚟咧會繼續同阿 Donnie 傾偈嘅。
Okay, Don, we are on commercial, but life is still life. Facebook Live is still Facebook Live. Right.
Love it.
So the question is, when we come back, we are gonna go back to the situations about who is buying in Florida right now, because and you know, like number one, number two is that you know, like because so many Canadian, they are afraid to cross the border. Even though you know, like we do have, even though both you know, like both Canada and US is very similar, but you know the way we control COVID is very different. So a lot of Canadian, especially the snowbird, they are senior, so they are a little bit worried about going there. In that case, do you see more Canadian there? Canadians still buying there, or Canadian are selling it? You know, or Canadians say, okay, I'm not gonna sell it. I just want to rent it out. How's the rental market? Because we never talk about the rental rules in the past. We only talk about selling and buying. But when it comes to rental rules, you know, could be very different. If there is, you know, like, so we would like to touch on that topics when we're back from the commercial. And so how, you know, other than that, you know, like, we would like to hear how you think the new administration is going to affect the housing market.
Yeah, so we'll give those answers when we get back, but let's take advantage of FaceTime Live. How much time do we have before your break is over?
The next break is going to be 45. Okay, so right now it's 5:31, 32. So our next break is going to be 5:45. So all that.
Okay, so we have another minute here?
Yeah, we have another minute here. Yep.
Okay, so tell everybody else who's on Facebook Live your side of the story from Canada. What are you seeing in your markets? I'm sure people would like to hear your side of the story as well.
Oh, but it's coming back. My side of the story have to wait. We're coming back now.
I'll grill you next.
Okay.
嘅投資金業直播室係今日嘅嘉賓啦，就專地產服務 Craig Becker 今日問何小姐，電話裏邊咧就遠在佛羅里達州嘅，係當地一間頗為著名嘅房地產經紀公司嘅副總裁啊 ，Mr. Donnie Pingaro 啊，之前其實出現過幾次㗎啦，不過過一年咧就比較少咗出現，然後今日咧揾佢翻嚟咧講美國佛羅里達州嗰邊個樓市嘅走勢嘅。
Okay, so Don, I'm gonna you know what I'm gonna ask you, so I'm gonna just translate it in Cantonese first. 咁咧就想同大家咧就講就係話咧，我哋頭先喺廣告嗰個時間咧就同阿 Don 就問一問啦。嗱，因為而家嗰個即係疫情嘅情況啦，咁好多加拿大人究竟而家繼續買啊、停止買啊、賣啊、決定買啊、翻嚟啊，定係出租咧 ？So Don, the first round is about Canadian. Are they still buying? Are they selling? Are they renting? Can you share with us, please?
Yeah, no, great question. So, you know, we see a trend of capitalizing as sellers.
You know, sell it. You know, we're back to this selling part. OK， 咁咧之後咧Florida 嗰啲加拿大人咧就會賣然之後咧就套現就翻嚟嘅。So Don, just want to share with you, ask you again is that when it comes to selling, do you see that you know in general is a lot of them or it's just portion of them? I mean, like what is your feel about Canadian selling?
咁啊提到賣方面啦，咁啊請教下莊啦。咁你見到好多人賣嘢，因為只係少部分嘅人尤其加拿大人啦，係賣緊佢哋手頭上嘅名戶咧。
Yes.
Yeah, it's increasing in volume, and you know, a lot of our job as real estate brokers and advisors is to reach out to our friends up in Montreal and Toronto and Vancouver and kind of alert our broker friends, hey, a lot of your clients have properties here, and they may not realize how lucrative it is right now to sell. So it's building very, consistently. And I would say over the winter that, seller rate of Canadians will increase so they can, take the profits back to Canada.
Okay. So then what I would like to ask is that now forget about Canadian. Do you still see a lot of like who is buying in Florida? Do you see any overseas buyers, or do you actually see a lot of buyers going to Florida is from New York, from California, from just different part of the states? So I let Akins to translate that one.
撇開加拿大人啦，咁喺買方面咯喎，咁其實而家邊一類或者來自邊一方嘅人咧喺佛羅里達州邊買呢個房地產物業咧，會唔會係海外嘅人啊，或者係美國其他州份啊，包括可能紐約市啊或者加州方面嘅人咧過嚟佛羅里達州買物業咧
Yes, Don.
Yeah. So we've talked many times about it on your show with your friends up there in British Columbia. That traditionally speaking, South Florida gets about 60 to 65% of their new construction sales from international buyers. We've definitely seen a decrease of that percentage. It still is an attractive play for some folks who are looking to change their lifestyle. But I think again, it's accelerated with everything going on. People feel, hey, my children are homeschooling. I'm working from home. Maybe I'm a Mexico City professional. I can do the same exact job, but I can live in Miami. I can, be from Columbus, Ohio, and then be in a downtown condo, and I can do the same lifestyle in Orlando. So we're seeing right now more domestic than international on a percentage basis. We're seeing it mostly from urban areas and also from California. We're seeing a huge exodus of buyers coming to Texas and Florida from our companies out of California, and mostly sight unseen. They're selling in California to our agents and referring it over, and most of our deals are being done remotely. We're doing video tours. They're not even coming into the property until they own it. So it's very, very interesting how the process has also accelerated.
Yes, okay. So I'm gonna just translate it quickly. 嗱，佢以前咧嚟講咧就係話咧，大多數嗰啲樓花咧，60到65% 咧都係海外買家嘅。咁但係咧，因為個疫情情況咧，無可否認咧，呢個數字咧就大幅降低嘅。咁所以變咗咧，佢亦都見到咧好大量嘅咧係國內嘅，即係美國國內嘅移民啦。OK， 正所謂，因為個個都唔需要喺即係翻工啦嘛，即係喺唔係話唔使翻工嘅。不過咧喺係啦喺屋企做嘢，咁然之後喺電腦又有做嘢，咁咧就唔使話即係要下下都要上 office 啊咁樣，咁所以咧亦都有好多啲人咧又係即係喺屋企嚟到上homeschooling 啊，即係喺屋企做教授啦、學習啦，咁所以咧佢見到好多啲加州嗰啲啦，或者係 Texas 啊、德州嗰啲啦，咁然之後咧好多啲人咧就係即係好似我哋好興啦，用 WhatsApp 嘅 video 啊，或者個 WeChat 嘅 video 啊，咁然之後咧就係見都未見過，就咁就買啦。到攞鎖匙嘅時候咧，先至去咧就真係去睇個樓嘅。Okay, so now let's put it this way. When it comes to rental, I would like to touch on the rental, rules. I'm not gonna ask you how and what. But as a foreigner, like I understand that different states they have different regulations, just like we have different regulations from Ontario. Can you share with us the regulations, the rental regulations in Florida? Like, is there any restrictions on how much rent you can increase every year? Is there any COVID restrictions that you are not allowed to evict people out, and then you're not allowed to increase rent? That kind of stuff, because we have that here. So I'll let Aiken to translate my question first.
租賃市場啦，咁Tina都話明白嘅，每一個州有不同嘅條例嘅，咁就係針對喺佛羅里達州啦嚇，因為外國人嚟睇佛羅里達州啦。咁究竟佛羅里達州佢有嗰個租賃條例係點樣嘅咧？會唔會喺而家目前嘅情況之下咧，可能好多嘅限制，包括好似喺我哋 BC 省啦，又唔準加租住啦，凍結咗個租金啦，亦都喺疫情期間又唔準驅趕嗰個租客出走啦，即係唔準驅趕個
趕客啦，正所謂
搬走啦嚇。
係啦。
咁佛羅里達州目前嚟講有啲咁嘅條例限制咗啲房東啊，佢可以每人加幾錢租，或者係房東個租客有問題嘅時候可以隨時趕佢走嘅。
Yes, so please share with us about these different rental rules pre-COVID, or during COVID. Post-COVID, I don't see there's any difference. The post-COVID and pre-COVID should be the same, but it's during COVID, right?
差別就喺新冠疫情之前同埋目前呢個情況之下有啲乜嘢不同嘅點
Yes, please share with us.
Yeah. So there actually are a lot of differences. In Florida specifically, it's community by community basis as your base regulations. So that could be the number of times per year, other restrictions. So Burnaby may have different rules of Squamish, for example, as in British Columbia. Then you go down to your community or your building. So say, for example, a building is a little more considerate about transiency. They want to be a little more sure. So a lot of our buildings that used to have shorter term type Airbnb options have discounted that and are made it a 6-month minimum. It allows the building and the neighbors to know a little better who is in the building next to them, who's in the elevator, and it gives a better sense of security for folks knowing that it's a much more stable set of folks that they're around, and the people are not going internationally, they're not going to different states and traveling and exposing the community and the building as a whole. So that's really been the big difference is between the communities and now the buildings.
Okay, so the community, I want to ask is that, now I understand the buildings, the Airbnb, the 6 months and all that. So the community part, what is the difference? How do you can you repeat that one in terms of the community part?
Yeah, so I'll give you a perfect example. So, my market, as you know, we've talked about Fisher Island. That's where I've done all my transactions in my career.
Yes.
And, prior to COVID, it was really just a matter of the building's restrictions. And 2 of the buildings had, one-night rentals. It was zoned. You could have 365 rentals if you wanted to. It was revenue generating. The island as a whole banned rentals, period.
Oh, okay.
From March until September 15th, so 0 rentals. And then when they opened them up, it's on a building-by-building basis. But now the club, which is also very important for people who are in a resort community, has a 4-month minimum. So there's different variables, so
I see.
People can still rent now for 30 days, but then they can't enjoy the club. And that is less attractive for people, and it's kind of swaying people to come at least 4 months this particular winter.
Okay, all right, so I got it now. So 佢嘅意思咧就即係其實咧每一個社區或者每一棟大廈咧都有唔同嘅規矩嘅。其實咧就好似話齋啦，即係如果我哋嘅大廈咁，我哋立案法團啊，個 strata 啊，你淨係要咁樣樣，你咁樣樣唔得，咁樣樣唔得，咁其實咧就即係差唔多啦，係咪呢個情況？咁佢哋以前嚟講咧就係話即係有好多 Airbnb 啦，咁而家嚟講咧就唔可以有 Airbnb 啦，或者係啦，唔可以短期出租啦，因為你怕即係想減少或者直情係唔希望有好多啲人喺唔同嘅事啊出出入入咁樣樣啊嘛，咁佢咧最少咧就要6個月啦。咁同埋另外一樣嘢咧，嗱喺 Miami 嚟講咧，佢哋嗰啲 amenities 咧，嗰啲設施咧係非常之好嘅。咁或者佢哋有個club 啦，有會所啦，即係好似我頭先講啦，你要個會所咧有按摩啊，有游水啊嘅梗有啦，係咪？呢啲咁樣樣。咁咧就以前嚟講嘅時候咧，就即係冇問題嘅，你點樣開都冇問題。咁而家嚟講咧就係話個 club 咧淨係開4個月嘅啫。咁如果你話淨係開嗰4個月嘅時候，咁你係咪真係想淨係嗰4個月先喺嗰度咧？如果唔係我俾咗租錢嘅時候，咁我唔用得，咁係咪真係又係好傻咧咁樣樣？咁所以變咗咧就有呢啲咁嘅情況。咁你 community 或者就算而家你開翻啦佢哋都唔會話係每一棟大廈即係每一棟大廈有自己大廈嘅規矩，每一個社區都有自己嘅社區嘅規矩。咁就即係基本上咧就係咁樣樣。So Don, I want to ask you is that in terms of rental. Let's say, in my opinions, a lot of the Canadian buying in Florida is the second home. But you also know that there are a lot of them are buying it as, investment. Do you guys have rent increase restrictions? So I'm going to let Aiken to translate that.
翻入咗呢條問題先，咁阿 John 或者休息之後呢就答覆我哋。
Yeah, so you can answer it after our commercial break. So yeah, it's 45 minutes.
租務嘅，咁聽日提到咧，咁好多加拿大內地州買嘅物業咧係以第2嘅房屋為主嘅，即係可能度假之類嘅，即係唔係主要嘅居所嚟嘅，甚至有啲我哋投資嘅。好啦，目前嚟講，究竟嗰邊嗰個租務條例裏邊咧會唔會限制咗租金嗰個升幅，或者每年加幾錢租？咁等阿 Don 啦休息翻嚟之後咧就答翻呢個問題啊。
Okay, great. So I mean, Don, you can say that in English. So when it comes back, so that my the live like Facebook live friends, they can hear it in English. Then when the commercial come back, I just do it in Chinese. So can you share with us, please?
Well, I'll share to Florida when we go back on the show. But again, let's talk a little bit back and forth about like kind of what you're experiencing. I'm sure everybody in Facebook Live would like to hear that. So I mean, in Vancouver, what have you seen on the rental scene? Is it more attractive? Is it more restrictive?
The rental in Vancouver, the rate has gone down. Okay, there's no doubt. Down. And then, but we are not as bad as Ontario. Like Toronto, the vacancy went up like couple 100%. Okay, so I'm talking about like from really 1,000 to 11,000 like vacancy, just a matter of over months. So we are not that bad. Toronto has a lot of Airbnb, and we don't have that many Airbnb. We have stopped the Airbnb things for quite a while. So our rate has gone down. There's no doubt because the border closed, because the international students cannot come, and
right.
all that. That's the reason why. So now
what percentage do you think it's gone down?
Okay, I'll tell you that when we come back. So commercial break is back. So now 因為咧阿 Don 咧就喺個commercial 嘅時候咧就問我話Vancouver 點樣樣啊，多倫多啊啲租金啊有冇跌啊定咁樣樣？但我就同佢講咧就係話我哋啲租金係有跌嘅，但係咧比起多倫多嗰邊咧我哋就唔係咁誇張 ，OK？ 咁如果你話跌幾多咧，就大概我哋即係有啲10%，有啲20%都有嘅。咁所以變咗咧呢樣嘢咧，我亦都係話翻俾阿 Don 聽。咁阿 Don 咧亦都可以一陣間咧就同我哋講咧就係關於佛羅里達州嗰邊嗰個 rental situation 係點啦。So Don, to answer your questions, is that our rental rate has gone down like 10-20%. And for detached house, something, sometimes it could be as high as 30%. So, like how is Florida?
Yeah, so Florida's rental, again, the restrictions are not on the rates. We did have a no eviction policy in the short term. But in terms of rates, it was still free market. And, many places really, there was a lack of interest for several months. And now it's the reverse. It's an extremely, extremely hot market. People do want to get away. They do want to work remotely. So our demand is much higher, and the prices that people are getting on a longer term, say 3 to 6 month or longer rental, is higher. And I'd say it's 30 to 40% higher than it was at this time last year. So it's a very, very lucrative market if that's something a resident was looking to do, if they're looking to capture some revenue.
Wow, okay, so 同我哋完全唔同啦。佛羅里達州嗰時候咧，佢有一段時間咧就係真係少咗人有興趣。而家咧佢哋嗰個租金咧，同埋咧想租嘅人咧就越嚟越多，個 market 咧好 hot，需求係非常之高。佢哋嗰個3到6個月嘅租金咧係比過往咧係升咗30到40%喎。哇！我哋就掉轉啦，佢哋咧就照翻上啦。我哋咧其實咧就即係好似 Ottawa 嗰邊，我咪同大家如果有聽我個節目咧，就係話前嗰排同 Ottawa 嘅同事咧傾開偈嘅時候咧，佢哋亦都係升得好勁嘅。So like quickly to share with you, Don, Ottawa's market is just like yours. Their rental market is going nuts, just like yours. And increase like 20%, 30% anytime, and it's multiple offer bid on the rental unit as well in Ottawa right now. 咁咧就即係所以同阿 Don 咧亦都係提即係 share 啦，就關於就係 Ottawa 嗰邊咧，亦都係咧就搶啊嗰個租務嗰個情況咧，亦都係搶到好交關嘅。So I mean it looks very promising. Like should we invest in Florida?
我哋應該喺佛羅里達州投資咧。
Of course you said yes, right?
No, I mean, so I say absolutely. Florida and Texas right now are just fantastic investment opportunities. But it's like everything. You have to be careful. You have to be smart and get the right advice. We're seeing a lot more folks who are, purchasing single-family homes and renting it out long-term. Mm-hmm. Previously speaking, the short-term vacation home rentals was very hot and very attractive. And I would be a little more cautious of that because, with the theme parks having restrictions and people being a little less comfortable in terms of vacationing than they were 2-3 years ago, that's one sphere I'd be cautious about. But in terms of investment, it's a great investment because we have the great demand for the rentals, and our population, increase is just through the roof, and that's going to sustain for the next at least 4 years through this administration because of taxation policies. That's just going to accelerate the population inflow into Texas and Florida, which again will, with the lack of supply, increase the prices along with that.
OK， 咁阿 Don 嘅意思咧就即係話咧，短期出租嗰啲咧都係非常之好。佢覺得咧，即係呢個未來嗰個政府咧就個稅務問題咧，會令到咧喺 Texas 同埋佛羅里達州啦，即係德州同埋佛羅里達州咧係一個非常之好嘅投資機會，因為咧佛羅里達州同埋德州咧嗰兩個州咧都係冇嗰個省唔係政府嗰個 federal 嗰個income tax 嘅，係啦，咁所以變咗咧就真係就唔會話好似加州啦。你知我哋西岸嘅人咧習慣咧就落去加州啊嘛，因為西岸啊嘛。咁但係咧如果你話真係以投資嘅角度嚟睇嘅時候咧，加州嘅稅務咧同埋加州嘅有好多咧就比較貴啲嘅。咁德州咧同埋佛羅里達州咧係比較好啲嘅。好啦 ，OK，so honestly now Miss yeah.
So let me give you one example. I'll give you like a fresh example to really put it into real terms.
Okay.
Before we were selling a lot of properties, the vacation properties. Right now, we're really focusing on more end users and folks who are long-term rentals. So we have like communities in Orlando that are brand new. They're part of a medical city. We can have investors buy a brand new triplex, their own individual building with 3 condos, about 2,000 square feet each, for less than $1 million. And because these are medical professionals that need to be near the medical city, it's bringing in about 8% return annually. So it's a different kind of investment, but again, super, super lucrative.
Wow. So are you talking about 2,000 square feet for the whole triplex, for the whole triplex?
No.
Each?
No, each residence is about,
So the house is 6,000 square feet.
You're buying the entire structure from 6,000 square feet. It's 3 different individual homes.
Yes. Under $1 million.
And under $1 million US. So again, it's just shifting kind of where we are advising our clients to look into. And, we're seeing just great prosperity in those kind of fields.
So my question is to you, how much rent can you get? Money.
They're bringing about 8% return because that specific community is a brand new community around the medical city. So your average income for people that live in that subdivision is literally double than the rest of Orlando.
Wow.
It's a very, very high-end white-collar market. They're very serious professionals. And again, they're very much into living very close by their profession.
Wow. Okay. So 嗱，即係所以就話啦，投資咧永遠咧要揾啲熟嘅、有經驗嘅專業人士咧，咁你就唔會投錯嘢。OK。咁所以咧就係話咧，就係佢話
6000尺單位
不足100萬美金，6000尺3個單位，每年嘅回報率有8%，因為咧就係接近醫院。即係後期接近醫院，同埋咧住嗰啲人咧就全部都係專業人士，即係總之係醫務人士。咁所以變咗嚟講咧，就係話非常佢哋咧就即係因為唔想住得太遠，要近。咁呢個成個社區咧就係一個新嘅社區嚟嘅。OK， 咁所以變咗咧，即係你要投資咧，就真係好似話真係唔好盲中中我朋友以前咁樣做啊，咁而家就咁做唔係㗎。以前係咁咧，你唔好講話以前講緊年聲，你真係唔啱手。而家講緊月聲咧都全是唔同㗎。咁所以咧就一定要同嗰啲非常之有經驗嘅，因為阿 Don 咧都同我一樣92年入行嘅，咁即係佢同我都一樣做咗28-9年。Yeah, well, I'm exposing your age because we said that we've been both in the business since 92.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, okay, now the last round, okay, the last couple minutes. Come on, give me some politics.
My favorite.
Exactly. Okay, we just love to hear it, right? So the outsider is different from inside, The outsider, we all look at it differently versus the Americans look at it differently. So, what do you think of the I don't want to say the last or the future administration. What do you think the two different, like Republicans, Democrats, how does it affect, how do you see, okay, I just shut up and then be quiet and then you take it from there?
The dynamics are very, very strong, and there's going to be a lot of prosperity.
Okay.
After the policies change, things will shift. And there will be certain sectors that will become more prosperous, and there's others going to be more restrictive. And that's where we have a little concern in terms of especially the mortgage rates and especially the middle class, where that could be affected and to what magnitude.
Okay.
So we're very, very strong for 21, but we're watching closely for 22 to 24 in terms of how that will be impacted.
OK， so 阿 Don 嘅意思咧，佢就即係話啦，佢覺得咧未來嘅一年咧，2021年咧都係非常之暢旺嘅，佢覺得。咁但係咧，即係當你換朝代之後咧，咁你跟住咧就會有2023、2024咧，咁就唔知係個情況係點樣樣啦。因為咧就2023到2024嘅時候咧，個新政黨咧就所有嗰啲稅務嘅嘢啊，會唔會係啦？會唔會係即係加稅啊？會唔會係令到咧好多啲中產階級啊比較難啲負擔啊咁樣樣咧，個利息會點樣樣咧？即係大家都唔係太過清楚。不過啦，點都好啦，無論如何都係好多謝阿 Don 咧，今日咧就同我哋去分享一個嘅，因為咧而家講真嗰句啦，未來幾個月咧嘅預知咧預測咧就仲可以，未來嗰幾年咧就真係好難測啦而家。係咪 ？So thank you so much, Don. Really appreciate you're on the show again. And
My pleasure, Tina.
I would love to have you back later on or next year, and then see, like how it goes. You just never know. We're gonna be we will have you back, hopefully in person.